E-commerce brands need to avoid this mistake at all costs. And this is something I've seen many brands go down the rabbit hole of and ultimately sink their business and honestly end up in desperate states. The ones that know what I'm about to talk about play the smart game, they play the long game, they stay in business long enough to get enough runs on the board that this strategy actually becomes successful. So what I'll talk through in a minute is off the back of 13 years experience in e-commerce. I co-founded an e-commerce business in 2013 with my brother in cold pressed juice, cleansing, and I've now helped over 250 brands as well over the last 3 years scale to record revenue months, whether it's their first 10K all the way up to 50 and 100K per month through my paid programs. So what I want to share is how we view ads, and I'd say specifically meta ads, because meta ads are probably the first port of call that people go to when they start running ads. All right, they're probably the most talked about, and people see them as the biggest gateway to opening up their audiences and ultimately extracting more sales from their target audience. Okay, they have an amazing ability to reach people beyond our own networks, of course, and the algorithm is far more advanced than other social platforms ads, and in terms of who it can actually target and find within our target demographic. So Meta is the most widely used. The mistake I'm referring to, and the mistake that you should avoid at all costs, is spending money that you can't afford to lose. Okay, so where I see brands go into this, and this is particularly for brands doing less than 5K per month, especially, I'd go so far as maybe 10K per month. If you're doing 10K organically or through other people's audiences and whatnot, that's a really good sign, in fact, that you should probably start, running ads. But it's particularly for those brands that are struggling to get sales organically, and the temptation to say, my solution, my silver bullet is going to be through paid advertising, right? Rather they come to that conclusion themselves, or an agency or contractor has sold them into that, one and the same, let's call it. But going in without having your eyes wide open and understanding your numbers is a recipe for disaster. And as I say, I've seen dozens of brands, none that have been under my immediate control, go down this route and ultimately fail. Okay, because when you run out of cash, your business dies, right? It's a cash game, especially in those early days. You can hold on for so long being unprofitable and investing cash into the business. But if you're just convincing yourself that it's just going to take time, that I just have to keep spending more and digging until I can get that inflection point, you're deceiving yourself. And again, recipe for disaster. I've seen it over and over, businesses fail. So what you need to do instead is make sure that you actually have a proof of concept with your product, that you have an audience that is buying from you already. Now, these don't have to be massive numbers. Like this could be the $1,000, $2,000, $5,000 per month without the use of paid ads. You need to ensure that you have market resonance and market acceptance for your product as an actual demand supplier, and also that, other things such as the pricing makes sense, right? And that people are giving you good feedback on their experience with you as a business, okay? Where people, again, make this mistake is they start with paid advertising, but paid advertising is just an amplification of what you've already got. If you have a fundamentally flawed business, if your products aren't selling, if your price point's not on point, if your website's not converting, if you don't have, email flows set up or retargeting set up, ads are going to amplify poor results. Conversely, if you are making sales organically, if you have high acceptance, you have a great conversion rate, ads will amplify what you've already got. They are the best tool out there to scale consistently, sustainably, and ultimately profitably. That's exactly what we want. Because if we can put $1 in a machine, get 2, 3, 5, 10 out every single time, how much would we spend? How much have we got, right? So coming back to the mistake is that silver bullet mentality, like that the ads or the algorithm or Meta will save my business, it will find the right people, but you're spending money, you're spending dollars in hope. And so if you're in the position where you can't afford to lose the money that you're spending, don't even spend it. That's just rule of thumb. You have to go the long way around. You have to go the organic route. You have to do the hustle. You have to pound the pavement either physically in person or, obviously digitally. And so for Karmic, when we started out, before we got exposed to paid ads, really truthfully, we were leveraging any personal network that we had. Cycling communities, football communities, yoga studios that we just happened to door knock or, communicate with via online means and get our foot in the door to their studios and do open days and stuff like that. We got the validation, we got the acceptance, we got the immediate feedback, especially person to person, right? Before we even considered spending money on advertising online. If we had of, right? And this is again a bit of an experience thing, thing where thank goodness we didn't, but we very well could have. If we did start spending money online right at the beginning in terms of ads, we would have wasted a whole heap of money. We may not even made it past that first milestone because we didn't have any proof of concept. We didn't have product that people would accept. We didn't have a price point. We didn't have anything to our names that would get people to buy. And so we would have gone down that route as well of failure if we had started putting dollars into the ad platform before we had a good organic base of customers and a good organic system of generating sales on their own. Okay. So my strong advice is don't spend a dollar that you can't afford to lose at whatever level you're at. You must give yourself a 30-day window at least to say, okay, I've got $1,000, right? I've got $500, whatever you want to do. There are minimums. It is case by case, of course, but you might say, I've got $1,000 that I can spend this month. If I make $0 off the back of that 1,000, that's okay. I'm going to be okay the next month to go back to my organics to do whatever it may be. But with that attitude, that I would say responsible marketing attitude, you can look at things objectively. You cannot get so emotionally invested that, it drives you crazy if things don't work. If things work, that's perfect. That's amazing. But you will learn something along the way. You will learn throughout the month if something is working. You will literally be putting your back against the wall and saying, I'm going to figure this out, right? I'm committing to this, but it's not going to break me or my business. And so I've found that method to be extremely beneficial, extremely profitable. And more often than not, it will work out way better than that conservative attitude that you took in a really amazing way. So you're going to learn a hell of a lot, but then often you're going to make some return on that $1,000. I can promise you that, right? You're going to make something. You're going to get some traffic. You're going to see how your website converts, how people are responding, and you're probably going to make some sales as well. I'll be very surprised if you didn't make any sales from putting some money into the ad platforms. But the difference is in terms of the pressure of what you're putting in, the necessity to make the money versus, testing things out and making sure that there's a product market pricing fit, etc. Okay. And if you just dish this off to an agency or a contractor, they're going to be doing exactly the same thing. Don't let them convince you that it's like, I've worked with this skincare brand, you're exactly the same as them. You're not. Literally, even if you sold exactly the same products, you're not the same brand, right? Your account is different. Your website is different. Your SEO is different. Everything is different about them. You'll have your own standards, baselines, personality, let's call it business health than somebody else, right? So you just have to understand that it's never the same. It's always a gamble or a testing period for somebody, and it may as well be for you as the business owner running your own show, right? So I just wanted to, expose you to that piece of knowledge. We've been talking about this a little bit within the community when people say, when should I start running ads? Definitely not at the beginning, right? When you have the money available, the resource available to say, if I don't make $1 off of this investment into ads, I'll still be okay. That's okay. That's fine to start investing in ads. Right? And then what you can do from there is take that 30-day data, roll it into, pass, fail, cut ad spend or completely, or increase ad spend. And we've had dozens of clients throughout our program that started at that less than $2,000 per month, less than $5,000 per month. They start their meta ads, even on, $10, $15 a day. We look at it after 7 days, 14 days, 30 days, positive result, tick, perfect. Let's tip more money in. Let's basically scale, right? $20, $50, $100 a day. Let's check that next 7, 14, 30-day windows. Same thing. And we've seen these businesses, as I say, more than I can actually count, do $2,000, $6,000, $8,000, $11,000, $16,000, $30,000. It just keeps going. Okay. Scaling smart, but being really objective and unemotional about that increase. Because the same thing happens when we scale, right? We say, okay, if I was spending $1,000 last month, I'm going to put it up another $500, 50%. Same thing. I'm not expecting or needing that extra $500 to generate a significant amount of return. This is the testing portion of that budget. I'm going to be very objective, looking at the numbers, looking at the data to see if it was a positive outcome or not, right? So we must take that attitude regardless of how much we spend and what stage we're at, that we don't ever spend what will break our business. We don't ever spend what we can't afford to lose. So I hope this piece of information was valuable for you. It's come off, as I say, a decade plus of experience, plus working with hundreds of brands in e-commerce. So if this was valuable for you, love a like, love a subscribe. Thank you for watching this video. If you want to know more about what we do and how we help e-commerce brands, you can click on the link below, check it out. But other than that, thanks for watching till the end. Appreciate you being here, and I'll catch you in the next one. See ya.